lie.
You know something, Archie? Just because a guy is sensitive and he's an intellectual and he wears glasses, you make him out a queer.
I never said a guy who wears glasses is a queer. A guy who wears glasses is a four eyes. A guy who is a fag is a queer.
Changed his sex. Thus, the strange case of Glenn, who was Glenda, one and the same person, not half man, half woman, but nevertheless man and woman in the same body. He dares to enter the street dressed in the clothes he so much desires to wear.
Binaries are something we're surrounded by growing up, but actually know very little about. Society is so focused on putting people inside one box or another. We're surrounded by labels that try to confine your identity into a limited spectrum. You're given the option of either being one thing or another, and never the option of something in between.
For our final assignment, we have decided to focus on the topic of gender and sexuality, as discussed on the last day of class. This topic is very broad and covers many different aspects that could be discussed, so we decided to conduct a social experiment to deconstruct the binary through testing that if people are given a less rigid form of self-identification, then they are less likely to conform within those binary standards. This demonstrates that the system is flawed because it silences a large demographic of people that do not fit within society's constructed concept of gender and sexuality.
Before we get into the details, it might be best to explain a few things first. For example, what exactly is a binary? It can be described as two different things that, because of society, are seen as opposites. In such opposites, each term necessarily implies its opposite, and that there is no middle. Binaries only look at the black and white and forget about all the gray that is there too. These things are typically seen as opposites, even though there is nothing to prove that they truly are. Some examples consist of good and evil, male and female, gay and straight.
And what about gender and sexuality itself? What can be so difficult to understand? Well, there are many parts that make up a person's identity, and they consist of gender identity, gender expression, biological sex, and then sexual and romantic orientation.
Gender identity is how you identify yourself and your gender based on how much you align or don't align with what you understand to be the options for gender, regardless of what you were assigned as at birth.
Gender expression is the way that you present yourself. It can be done through your clothing, your actions, your demeanor, and the way in which those presentations are interpreted based on society's gender norms.
Your biological sex is the set of characteristics that you are assigned at birth, including genitalia, hormones, and chromosomes. Up until recently, there has really been only one spectrum for your orientation, but now it is typical to split it up into who you are romantically attracted to, as well as who you are sexually attracted to, because they could be actually different from one another.
We created a survey to hand out to fellow students here at Moore. It consists of a folded piece of paper with instructions on the front telling you what to do and a series of questions on the back which include: what is a binary? What is homosexuality and heterosexuality? Why is homosexuality considered the opposite of heterosexuality? What exactly makes it opposite? And then we asked them to define gender identity, gender expression, biological sex, and orientation.
Inside is a chart in which they're asked to identify themselves based on the terms they were asked to define, but these definitions were now supplied so they could properly do so. We wanted to learn about these things at the same time.
Over the course of 2 days, we were able to acquire 58 surveys. While this may not be a large enough number to stand on its own, it can still do a decent job at bringing to light the problems in our system.
Out of the 58 people that filled out the binary question, only 41.3% got it either correct or close enough. That means even more than half are unaware of a major issue in our society. About 21% didn't even attempt to answer the question. When asked why homosexuality and heterosexuality are considered opposite, we wanted answers that commented on how it is a concept constructed by society. Unfortunately, only 46.6% of participants knew that.
While conducting this survey, we wanted to see just how many people actually fell within the binary. Since we could only survey people of the female biological sex, those binaries would consist of cis straight women and cis gay women, since they fell inside the man and woman and gay and straight binary. 6.9% of the participants did not fill out this section of the survey, and 44.9% of the people actually fell within the binary. The other 48.2% of people fell outside of the binary. This proves our statement that the binary system is flawed because it is ignoring a demographic of people that actually make up the majority of the population. And that trying to label people as one thing or another is closed-minded and statistically speaking, most likely incorrect.
Gender and sexuality are not as simple as we all know by now. When asked to define the 4 separate aspects of gender and sexuality, 86.2% of the people surveyed answered correctly to all of them. That might seem promising, but it still means that 13.8% of them answered one or more of them incorrectly. Even if you fall within the binary, these terms still apply to you.
These are the actual numbers that we came up with while conducting the survey. 24.1% identified their gender as non-binary. Out of those, 3.4% were attracted to women, 1.7% to men, and 19% to all genders. 69% identified as cis. Out of those, 6.9% were attracted to women, 38% to men, 22% were attracted to all genders, and 1.7% were actually asexual. And the other 6.9%, like mentioned before, did not fill out this portion of the survey.
So basically, what all of this is saying is that even though the binary only focuses on 2 small aspects of a much larger spectrum, those other aspects still do exist and do require the same attention as all the rest. So stop assuming that everything is just black and white and realize that not everything has to be. The large demographic of genderqueer, non-binary, and bisexual and queer individuals deserve the same respect and recognition from our society as those that do fall within the binary.
We're here, we're queer, get over it!